Hello, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I'd like to talk about how often to imagine. So, in order to manifest, the requirements is to construct a scene that would imply that you are now the person that you want to be. The person that you want to be could include anything, because all things in this world are rooted in you. So this could include who you are, what type of job you have, who your friends are, how your friends act, the specific person that you are with, the weather, everything, because it is your perception. It's the things that you're aware of. They are all rooted in you. So you construct a scene, you outline a scene that would imply that you are now that person. And once you do that, you bring that scene into your imagination from the point of view as if it has already been fulfilled, right? So you construct that scene, bring it into your imagination as if it has already been fulfilled. And when you do that, you enter into the scene into first person point of view, so that it is you receiving the thing that you desire, or you experiencing the thing that you desire. And you give it all the tones of reality, all the vividness, as if it was really happening. And when you do that, when you feel like it's actually real, you then can release it. And when you release it, it is planted and you're leaving it in the fertile ground. So a great question was asked today by someone based on some of the content that I'd provided in my videos. So I talk about the idea of imagining and then dropping it. And to drop it is to leave it alone and to not mess with it so that it has the room to grow. But what I mean by this is, do not have contrary or negative or desirous thoughts, right? The desire is not having it. The desire is wanting it. And if we want it, then we are creating more want in our life. We are creating not having it, more time in between. So that's what I mean by dropping it, is no longer feeling like you don't have it. So when it comes to the things that we really want, when we imagine it, it is best to drop it and then carry on, just to prevent the conflicting thoughts from arising in your mind, the feelings of anxiety or lack. Feeling those things are going to create more lack. Because remember, when we imagine, it is the grand total scene that is compressed into a seed, including what it is that we're seeing, how we're seeing it, and how we're feeling it. So if we're trapping that feeling of anxiety or lack in the thing that we want, then we're planting it in the ground and it's manifesting more things in its own likeness. And keep in mind that it takes one good scene, and only one good scene, to plant a seed in this fertile ground in our subconscious mind for it to be manifested in this reality. So it could take one time, imagining it thoroughly in the end, feeling as if we are really in the scene in first person point of view, and then dropping it for it to manifest. But what happens if you want to imagine it more than once? And I'll talk about me specifically. When I really want something, what I'll do is before bed, that is the best time to imagine, because the analytical mind, the conscious mind, the thing that presents us with facts and logic of this world, the things that are preventing us from getting the things that we want, that is shut down to a minimum, right? Because that is the analytical mind. The analytical mind is tied with logic and is tied with senses. And so it finds patterns in this world, and it gives them to us, and it tells us, okay, these are the limits of this world, and so it's going to be difficult for you to manifest this thing, right? But the thing is that the spirit is actually on a different plane altogether than logic or senses. And so when we're before bed, we are that piece of us that is telling us, you can't do this. All these things are in between. There's no way. This is impossible. That's the logical mind. When before bed, that is brought down to a minimum. So before bed is when I imagine the thing that I desire, okay? The closest I get to sleep, the less analytical mind is present. And so there's actually a window right before bed when the conscious mind is almost shut down completely, and that is basically a hypnotic state or the state akin to sleep. And that's the time that I imagine the things that I want the most. And when I'm in that state, I bring that scene before my mind's eye, the one that is the end after the desire has been fulfilled, and I give it all the sensory vividness of reality. What would I see? What would I taste? What would I touch? What would I hear? And I play that in my mind's eye in first person until it feels real. And if I can do that successfully with extreme detail of vividness, as if I am really there, then the seed will definitely be planted, and then I fall asleep and it's done, right? There's a time period between the time I imagine and the time it's manifested. I don't know what has to transpire. I don't know how it's going to transpire, but I know that it will transpire because I know that my imagination is creating reality. And I know that if I can get the senses shut off, then whatever it is that I want, when I imagine it, it's done. But back to the original question. What if I imagine this thing more than once? How can I imagine this more than once if you're telling me to drop it? Well, this is what I mean. Dropping it, like I said in the beginning, is to not have those feelings of lack or doubt or anxiety or insecurity or fear or anything that would imply that I don't have the thing that I want. But when I have my big desires, I will imagine at night and get it real, right? Make it real as possible. If I fall asleep and if it, like, I feel like for myself, when I do it more than once is when, excuse me, when I feel like I could make it more real. So I'll imagine it once. If I fall asleep and it's not as real as I want, maybe the next day, maybe the day after, maybe the day after that, I will do it again. But the key here is to not present yourself with the feelings of lack or doubt or anxiety, because that will trap it in the seed. That will create obstacles between me and the manifestation. But if I am imagining simply to feel the good feeling of the wish fulfilled, then this is completely acceptable because it doesn't matter here, right? And the thing I want to make explicitly clear is it could only take one time for the seed to be planted if I get it real, right? Now keep in mind as well, it could take a fleeting thought to manifest. But sometimes the human mind, for me, I don't know when the seed has been planted. I don't, right? That is a spiritual thing. That is something that's on a different plane. That's a subconscious thing, right? My conscious mind cannot know the things of the subconscious, right? Just like I cannot know the ways of God. I cannot know the ways of the subconscious. So for the things that I really want, I want to make sure that my subconscious mind has been impressed properly. And so if I decide to do the scene more than once, as long as I do not have those feelings of doubt in there, then it doesn't really matter. It can only be a benefit to imagine it more than once, because each time I am making the scene more real and more real until it is infused with reality, until it feels as real as possible, until it exists almost as if it is a memory. So let me just clarify this. If I imagine properly, just like when I write down my list of things that I desire, oftentimes when I write that list, I only write it one time. I don't really imagine it. I don't really feel it. I just write it down and I drop it and I put it away. And generally within that day, that week, that month, it doesn't really matter because I don't know how long it's going to take for it to manifest, because there is no way to tell how long it's going to take to manifest. I can drop it, put it away, and it will manifest. But for me as a human with my carnal mind, for the things that I really desire, there are times when I want to, just for myself, make sure that I have planted it in my subconscious mind. Now, when I wrote it down, it could have been planted and it could be made manifest, right? But this is the clarification that I'm trying to make. Me as myself, right? I'm not talking about the spirit, myself. I want to ensure that I have done it properly at times, depending on the intensity of the desire or how bad I want something. So if I want something extremely bad, what I will do is at nighttime, I will imagine the thing, and then it could be the next day I'll imagine the same thing, or the next day I'll imagine the same thing, or during the day when I'm driving to work or when I'm driving around, I can have an inner conversation that would imply that I am already that person. That would imply that I already have that thing that I want. If I am not viewing it as a lack or an anxious, something of anxiety, there's no harm in doing this, because what it can do is just strengthen the memory, right? I look at imaginal acts as memories almost, because when we do an imaginal act good enough, then it's almost as if a memory that's been impressed on the subconscious mind that will be executed. And I make this memory more real and more real and more real as the days go on. So if you have a very big desire, then you can either imagine it once and drop it and carry on. And when I say drop it, I mean don't have conflicting thoughts. Avert your attention to other things. Do not focus on the lack thereof. You can either do that, or for your own, I guess, if you want to feel like you've done it properly, you can imagine it multiple times, as long as you do not have the feelings of anxiety and doubt being captured in the seed, right? So you can do it as many times as you want. It doesn't matter. But it could have been planted that very first time. It could have been planted that very first time. Generally for me, I will start to see signs, either immediately or shortly after, or I don't even know when I'll see signs, because again, I can't dictate when or how this thing is going to manifest, right? But I will see signs if it's a big desire, generally. It's either I'm going to see signs or it's going to just manifest. And sometimes I will imagine multiple times until I get an extremely vivid imaginal act that's infused with reality and feeling and emotion. When I do, I'll either imagine it until I get that, or I will imagine it until I start to see signs, right? I just want to make clear one thing again and again, is that it could only take one imaginal act to impress this thing on the subconscious mind, and that is why I recommend for you to continuously do these lists of desires during your day, because you will prove to yourself that even your fleeting thoughts have the power to impress on the subconscious mind. And that's not even little things. Like when I imagined, when I wrote down that I was going to have free vacations, I wrote that down once and put it away. And that manifested within about 5 days is when I started to have people ask me to come visit them and stay with them. So, and I just did that once and I put it away. So I hope this was clear. I hope this was clear. If you have any questions, please comment below. Like this video. Click the subscribe button. Click the bell icon. Go to the website sovereignmind.com for more posts and things like this. And stay tuned for more videos. And thank you so much for watching.